I've been touring for 10 years now, and the problems with my vocal cords started 10 years ago. When I went to the vocal cords doctor, he told me a few things to do, but he also said you need to take 3 weeks of complete silence where you don't talk at all now. And I was like, I can't do that because I have bookings for the next 2 months, including a tour.
See, you're in that scene or in that career where there's tons of alcohol and drugs. Tons. And you don't have to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
How do you have that strong mindset to be like, no way, it's not happening, brother?
This is the True Hustle Podcast with your host, JR.
This is the True Hustle Podcast with your host, JR.
I know you've been going through a lot of stuff lately. And that's life sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
But I think it has a lot to do with how we process things.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've learned lately is perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes we think that things are worse than what they are.
Yeah.
You know, and
I
are
think
they?
Oftentimes that's the default, right?
Because our mind.
Mm-hmm.
I think our mind sometimes is our worst enemy. I said this before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you think about that?
I think that you're right, and I think that stress is definitely part of life, and I feel like we all seem to make our problems bigger than they are. And in our defense, it's our world. We're only seeing our own problems, you know, so how could we not make our problems be the biggest problems, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we didn't grow up with the tools to know how to process our emotions. You know, our parents didn't teach us how to deal with anger, how to deal with jealousy, how to deal with resentment or anything like that, you know? So just like anything in life, when you don't have the tools to make something better, you're not going to be able to do it unless you go out and find your own way, which most people don't do. Because it's another thing we're not taught to do, go out and get it and make sure it gets done, whatever that is. But I feel like it's all those contributing factors.
And I think it's hard for us to ask for help.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, we weren't raised that way, you're right.
Yeah.
And of course, we don't have the resources that we have now.
Mm-hmm.
Now you just pick up your phone and it'll tell you your fucking symptoms and how to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? When you were fucking in your teens, we didn't have that shit.
Mm-mm.
So how did you teach yourself? Like, you know what? This part of healing or this part of self-development, like, this is the right way. Like, is there somebody that you went to or somebody that taught you how to do this, or did you teach yourself?
I feel like it was a mix of me teaching myself and being taught, maybe not directly, but me finding mentors online that don't know who I am, but I know who they are. Like Elon Musk, like Jordan Peterson,
What's up, perro?
like Deepak Chopra, Eckhart Tolle, Oprah Winfrey. Like, those are people that I listen to all the time, like regularly. And I feel like they just provide so much good information about healing, about growing, about becoming a better version of yourself, about letting go of the past, you know. And those are all really hard things to do, especially if nobody's sitting there telling you how to do it, you know. But like you said, we do have the power of the internet now, so I take full advantage of the power of the internet. And I've been on like a self-help journey for, I would say, about 10 years now. It started when I was like in my early 20s, and then I was like always depressed my whole life. And in my early 20s, I thought I was going to die when I was 19. Before I was 19, first of all, okay? Because I was living mi vida loca, okay?
Oh, well, West Side.
Yeah. And so when I got to 23, I was like, oh my God, I'm still alive. And I hate myself. And I've hated myself for 23 years. I think I need to start working on this. Because what if I'm alive 23 more years? You know? And I have... one of my grandmas, she's just not a happy person, and she's always been like that. And so I thought ahead. I was like, damn, she was 23 one time, and she was miserable. Now she's 83, and she's still miserable. I don't want to be like that. I better get on this self-help shit.
Shit, that's some deep shit right there. Okay, so let's dig in. All right, this is going to be like a therapy session for you and for me. You know what I mean? I love this shit. Why do you think you hated yourself so much? Did you hate your circumstances, or did you hate? Well, hate is a powerful word, so. Or did you dislike just your actions, what you were doing?
I would say sometimes I dislike myself and sometimes I hate myself. Yeah, even still now, and it's a very little now, Actually, it's not very little. It's still a problem.
Moments.
Yeah, it's still a problem, but it's not like how it was when I was 23. Now I know that hating things you do sometimes is just part of the human experience, whereas when I was 23, nobody had taught me that. I feel like kids, when they grow up, everybody paints this perfect picture, especially on Instagram, the perfect family and the perfect husband and the perfect house and the perfect car and the perfect job and the perfect tits. And behind closed doors, their life is nothing like that, and I feel like that still goes on today. And back when we were little, it was still like that. And it's probably always been like that. People want to just show the best parts and act like nothing is wrong with them, right?
I agree.
And I feel like that's really hard on children because children don't understand deception and fake, like what they see is real. So when you grow up, you're thinking like, wow, all these families are so perfect, they're so rich, they have 2 parents, they're like all these things that it's probably not really like that. But when I grew up, nobody told me that. And now when I have a young nephew, and I always tell him that, I'm like, don't worry, everybody else is suffering, everybody else has problems, and that's just how life is, and I feel like I try to, whenever I interact with like my friends, younger kids, I always try to tell them something like that. Like, don't be too hard on yourself. I'm suffering with this. Your mom's suffering with this. Your neighbor, blah, blah. I feel like it's really important to teach kids that. So, yeah, I don't even know why I started.
No, well, that's good. Well, let's elaborate on that. Social media paints this perfect picture. And I think that social media doesn't allow, I don't want to say doesn't allow, but you can't put yourself out there and put out vulnerability
without paying a price.
You know what I'm saying?
A huge price.
Yeah, and I just think that you're right. And I just think that these kids think that everything's fucking sunshine and rainbows, and like, no, that's not life. You see these people put the best version of themselves online. But behind closed doors, they suffer like everybody else. And I just think that every now and then it's okay to, show that life is not that perfect. You know what I mean? And I'm sure the kids will see, like, I think personally that kids have to deal with adversity to be great at this game called life.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going through that right now with my 9-year-old. Like, she's struggling with her new school. It's gotten better. I give her mom and myself some credit. But, I told Sabrina, which is my wife, I was like, look, listen, this is good that she's going through this shit. And, and we as parents are here to guide her. I don't want to make this shit easy for her.
Yeah.
Like, hey, and I'm very selective on how I speak to her. I speak to her like a little adult.
That's good.
So, and I walk her through the steps. And I think that's very important. And that's why I always say that being a parent this day and age, well, actually, back then too, but it's just you have to be a great dad, special or great parent in general, dad or mom, to teach your kids that hey, life is a bitch sometimes.
Yeah. Like half
that
the time.
shit's gonna punch you in the fucking face.
Yes.
How many times does it punch you in the face? Because it's punched me a lot. For the last 3 months, it punched me daily like ten pendejo. Boom, boom. And I don't know how to deal with it because, we've been going back and forth like texting, and I'm like, damn, I probably went through the worst 3 months of my life. Like, fuck, sick, fucking like borderline feeling really sad because they took away some of the most important things that keep me going, which is the gym.
Oh, shit.
And work.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And my doctor's like, you cannot work out. Motherfucker, are you fucking crazy? And I'm like...
That's a big part.
They took that away. I know that I'm going into another topic, but it just flowed in perfectly, guys.
But that is great to go into that topic because physical exercise is so important for your mental health.
Man.
And we a lot of people know that, especially if you struggle with mental health, you need to work out because it helps a lot. Yeah, like you have to.
So I think for the first time in my life, I felt really like, people think because, you're successful and you have money, that you don't go through those peaks.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't go through the highs and lows.
Mm-hmm.
No, motherfucker, like that does not matter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I just felt that I had pneumonia. Like I had shit that I've never experienced in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So that down moment was like, oh fuck, like this is new territory for me.
Yeah.
How do I handle this shit? You know, so.
How are you feeling now?
I feel good.
Okay.
I feel good. We just went to Texas, so now my breathing is getting better.
Nice.
But you know, every now and then I got to roll my back.
Mm-hmm.
I start feeling like a little bit winded. COVID fucked me up, and that's just the bottom line.
It was from COVID?
From COVID in 2020. I had it like 4 times.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And it just,
I think I've had it like
it did some damage, and I'm like,
Yeah.
You know, but at the end of the day, this is life, right?
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do? Just sit there and fucking cry? Like, you have to figure out how to fix the things that are wrong in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for me, it's like, okay, you're a little bit overweight. Easy. Stop eating, dog. Go to the fucking gym, dog.
Yeah.
You know, even though the doctor told me not to go to the gym for like 2 weeks, you know? So I started working out again, and I feel great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to fix everything. It's just very challenging, you know?
Yeah.
And it sucks. I know that you've been going through some medical issues as well. Like, how do you handle that? Or do you want to talk about, like, what's going on?
Yeah, so basically right now I'm dealing with 2 chronic illnesses, and one of them is my vocal cords. I've been touring for 10 years now, and the problems with my vocal cords started 10 years ago. And 10 years ago, it was just like a couple days, then it would turn into a week, then it would turn into 3 weeks, and then the worst it was like in 2017, I think. And it was like maybe a month and a half that I was struggling with my vocal cords. And this last couple years, it was so bad that it just started being all the time. Like not every day, but almost every day.
So then what
I'm in
happens? That
pain.
you can't talk?
I can't talk. And like it just hurts me. It feels like swollen inside. It felt like my voice is raspy. Just like in constant pain, like always feels like my throat's burning. Like I was not going out as much, like to work events. I wasn't hanging out with my family, with my friends, because I couldn't talk because it hurts me. So I finally went to a specialist, and they said that I have nodules, which are growths on my vocal cords, and I also have an ulcer, which touches where my vocal cords are and where exactly like where the ulcer is. So this is all, it's because of the touring and from not knowing how to use my voice correctly for the first few years of doing it, you know? Like, nobody taught me. I didn't know I was going to be like a rapper traveling the world, you know? That wasn't really the plan. It just kind of started happening, and I was, you know, when you're young, you just go, you know? Like, I was like, oh, let's get, do you want to go to Europe? Yeah, I want to go to Europe. Let's go, you know? Like, no questions. I didn't even think about having a vocal coach or anything like that. And now I look back on the videos from me performing 10 years ago, and I'm just like, oh my God, no wonder my vocal cords are busted. I'm like screaming on the mic.
Turning up and shit.
Yes,
like,
just
not
using
knowing.
it. I wasn't using it correctly. Now I know, you know, and I try my best to always use it correctly, but that's what caused most of the damage. And then also my doctor, he also thinks that it's you know, I'm a believer, and a lot of people are nowadays, that the mental is connected to the physical, you know, in your body. So I have problems with my vocal cords, have problems with this area or the throat chakra. I'm not really into all that chakra shit, but it's just to say, like, I have problems here. And, you know, when I was young, I did keep a lot of secrets inside. I did have to hold back a lot of my thoughts. I couldn't speak up for myself a lot. I had to hold secrets for people, you know, and that it gathered up right here, you know, and that's what my doctor said. And then he also thinks that maybe I have a little bit of acid reflux. So, okay, yeah. So now I have to take, I have to take medication 4 times a day. Once every time after I eat, and then once before I go to sleep. And he's putting me on that for like 2 months, because it's like something that you shouldn't do for prolonged.
But you know what causes it? It's like spicy food.
That's one of the things that causes it. Yes.
And you're Mexican.
Yes. So he told me I couldn't eat spicy. Yes. And so honestly, I'm back to not eating spicy.
Me officially as of this week.
Okay, that's
I'm
good.
tired.
Yeah.
I go through a lot of the things that you're talking about.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I feel like sometimes my voice is just super raspy. Like I feel like I fucking have something stuck on my throat. Damn. You're describing a lot of the shit that I go through.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
A lot of people have ulcers too, and they don't know.
And those nodules, those nodules are from, it's like scar tissue.
It's scar tissue.
I haven't said anything, but I'm going to say it now. I have nodules in my lungs. That's what they found.
Okay.
Scar tissue.
Yeah.
And they were like, can't do shit about it. He's like, as long as they don't grow, you're good.
Yeah.
And I was like, how the fuck are you going to tell me that, dog? Like, right before I went to Texas, I was flipping out. So I was like, they were like, dude, there's no symptoms to it. So relax, just like, relax. The fuck? So.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, hijo su puta madre, what's going to happen? But, it is what it is. And now we got to just move forward with it.
Yeah. That's crazy that COVID did that to you. I have not as bad as that, but I just got, when I got COVID, I lost my sense of smell. And then a lot of smells for months. This was like for like 6 months or something. Everything smelled like it was being cooked in garlic. Like if I ate a piece of orange, it would taste like orange and smell like orange, but with garlic inside. Or if I smelled fresh cut grass, it was like grass but cooked with garlic. Or like any smell, like a perfume, it smells like the perfume but cooked with garlic, or like hella chemically. And this went on for like 6 months. I was smelling garlic. Luckily, I like how garlic smells, but it was just a little bit strange, and also like, kind of like for safety too. Like, I guess it wasn't that big of a deal because we live like in America. But like, for example, sometimes I would be like with friends and I'll be like, it smells kind of funny, right? Like, what's that smell? They're like, it smells like shit. It smells like the sewers. Yeah, I'm like, I couldn't really tell that it was, I couldn't tell what the smell was, but I knew it was a bad one. You know what I mean? And then eventually the garlic went away. But till this day, my smell is not as good as it was before.
Fuck COVID.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people that a lot of bad things happen to them. And then with the vaccines too, that's even crazier. A lot of people are really fucked up from the vaccines. And
man,
it was a serious virus. That shit fucked me up too.
How do you think... Okay, that's one of the illnesses you have, right? So let's just touch on that. How do you think that affects your mental health? Does that give you anxiety? Does that amplify other symptoms of anxiety, depression? Because now you know you have this condition. Mm-hmm. Does it start fucking with you?
Yeah, it's definitely been challenging dealing with these injuries on my vocal cords, for sure. Mentally challenging, physically challenging, emotionally challenging. And it has increased my anxiety, for sure. And it has made me sadder, honestly. Like, I have been more sad than usual over these past few months because of my injuries. And it doesn't allow me to be out a lot, you know, and it doesn't allow me to socialize with the people I love. I was missing out on work events, like I said. Even with you, remember, I was like, I can't do the podcast. Like, you were not the only one. Like, I was missing out on so many opportunities with people. Like, and I just, even with my scheduling, and it definitely has been very challenging mentally. And I actually went on a 3-week retreat to Mexico. Remember I told you?
Oh, you did.
Yes. So my doctor, when I went to the vocal cords doctor, he told me a few things to do, but he also said you need to take 3 weeks of complete silence where you don't talk at all now. And I was like, I can't do that because I have bookings for the next 2 months, including a tour. And he's like, okay, well, as soon as you can, take 3 weeks of silence. And I was like, 3 weeks of silence? How am I going to do that? I was
not talking at all?
Not talking at
all.
Oh,
hell no. I talked to my fucking damn self.
Yeah.
That's going to be hard.
And so I was like, okay, for sure I have to get out of LA. And where am I going to go? I want to go to a beach. Okay, I looked at the beaches in California. Forget it. I was like, okay, maybe I can't go to the beach. And then I was like, wait, maybe I could go to the beach in Mexico. And I did. And it was like a third of the price, including the fucking plane ticket and all that shit. And it took 3 weeks of silence in Mexico. Completely silent. I probably said like 15 words in 3 weeks. And it was just like like a reflex, like for example, a couple times I fell and I said shit, you know, or like a couple times I started singing in the shower and then I was like, oh no, I can't, I'm not supposed to talk. And then another time I was in Puerto Vallarta and it was like a tropical rainstorm. Okay, I didn't know it was gonna be raining like that. I've been to Puerto Vallarta once before and it rained a little bit, you know, it was not a big deal. I said, oh, it's just gonna rain a little bit, and then it was like storming with lightning, with thunder. It was hot, you know.
Fucking humid.
Yes, humid. And this one time I got caught in a tropical storm. And I said, what am I gonna do? And everybody was just like waiting in the grocery store. And after I was waiting there with the people, I was after like 20 minutes, I was like, damn, like how much longer am I gonna wait here? You know? And this was in the first couple of days of me being there. And I decided, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to have fun and just run through the storm home. Like, just for the experience, you know? Because I'm always, like, adventurous and, like, you know? Yeah. And then I started going. And then, like, 30 seconds after I was running through the storm, I said, why did I do this?
Yeah, fuck that. Let me go back.
No, I didn't go back. I was like, I'm just going to go. And then I ended up going through this construction site that I had been passing by in the daytime when it wasn't raining. And I was like, I looked at the construction site and I was like, I don't know if I should walk through there. But if I don't, I'm going to have to walk like 10 minutes that way in this storm. And then it's going to be longer. I'm just going to run through it. And I start running through the construction site and I start sinking in the construction site. Because it was like a big, like sand. And my feet start going in. And the more I'm walking, the further the sand is going, swallowing my legs. And then by the time I got to the end, I couldn't get out. And somebody saw me, a homeless man, he saw me. And in the storm, he's like, ¿necesitas ayuda? And I was like, ayúdame, por favor. And he picked me up. Yes, he picked me up out of the fucking sand. It felt like quicksand at that point, you know? And I couldn't go. Like, he had to pick me up. That was crazy. So that was one of the times I spoke. Yes! For a split second, I thought I was going to, like, fall in the quicksand. Like, and maybe die.
I would have fucking flipped out.
Yes, I was freaking out.
I fucking flip out in elevators.
And then another time that I spoke, it's because Chino XL passed away, rest in peace. And he was like one of my friends. Yeah. And so when I saw people posting on Instagram, I just, out loud, I said, no. And then I called him because I couldn't believe it. I was like, there's no way. And I called him a couple times and obviously he didn't answer. But so those were like the 15 words that I said.
And what did he pass from?
I'm not sure. They haven't said it.
That
publicly.
Sucks. And he was pretty young, huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Shit. Well,
but other than that, yeah, rest in peace. Other than that, I didn't speak. And so I went back to the doctor now that I'm home. And he stuck the camera down my throat again. And the ulcer's almost gone.
It worked.
Yes. So it's still there a little bit. So that's why he put me on the medication now. And I'm supposed to be like talking less. And I'm I'm not doing that good at that part.
Maybe we could start using sign language. Like
that's what everybody's telling me.
You know,
they're like, you should learn sign language. Yeah.
Fuck.
So that's where I'm at. So I'm.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it's good.
That's
I'm doing
great.
better.
Thank God. Mm-hmm. That's the first illness. Mm-hmm. What's the other one?
So my second chronic illness that I'm dealing with is my stomach. I have a stomach condition, and I found out about this about a year ago. So I knew something was wrong with my body, okay? And I started going to doctors. And everybody kept telling me, nothing's wrong. You're healthy. You're skinny. Your blood work is fine. Your vitals are fine. We even did an ultrasound on my stomach one time. And they're like, oh, nothing's fine. Nothing's wrong. You're fine. Like, and I was like, no, something's seriously going wrong with my body. I've been in this body for 30 years. Something's wrong, you know? And then after so many people didn't want to help me and just couldn't help the problem, I finally went to a holistic doctor who won't prescribe me medicine. He's just going to help me the natural way, right? And when I went to him, immediately he said, oh, yeah, your stomach is completely destroyed. Your microbiome is destroyed, and we're going to get you healthy. So,
What?
yeah.
Just like that?
Just like that. And then he did, and you know when you go to the doctor and they see you for like 5 minutes and then they tell you what's wrong? And then you're like, how do you know what's wrong with me? You saw me for 5 minutes. I haven't even told you anything, you know? When I was in his office, I was there for like an hour and a half with him and his staff the whole time. Like, it was like a long...
X-rays or nothing?
There was no x-rays. And then he put me on this plan to fix myself. And I was on the plan for 6 months. And I couldn't believe it, my body, how it healed. It completely...
So, like, what was the issue? Like, you couldn't eat?
You mean what did he make me do?
No, like your symptoms. Like, at the beginning, you were like, you couldn't eat, or you were throwing up, or like, what was the...
Basically, I don't want to get into the minor details, but everything you can imagine that could go wrong with your stomach was going wrong with my stomach. Okay, and that's a lot of things. Okay, yeah, and your microbiome. So it was just a lot of uncomfortability. Okay, and it was a problem.
You were bloated.
Just everything. So I saw my body healing for 6 months, and then I fell off on the holidays last year. Of course, everybody falls off on the holiday, right?
Yeah, did you eat tamales?
I did. I ate everything. I ate everything. And then in January, after the holidays, I got in a really bad car crash.
I know. I seen it.
Yes.
I texted you right away. Like,
Yes.
I'm like, damn.
And then after the car crash, I was like really injured for a couple months. So I was just, I was another reason I didn't leave my house either, because of the car crash. And I was just home, and I couldn't like walk. I couldn't stand for like extended periods of time. I had to take like fucking Vicodins and Tramadols for the pain. Like, it was a crazy, it was really bad. And people were like, oh, your car doesn't even look fucked up. Like, yeah, because I was driving a nice car. Like, do I have to die for you guys to believe me that I got hurt in this car crash? Why am I going to say it was a big deal if it wasn't, you know? It was a big deal, and I was home, and I couldn't go anywhere. So I was depressed, and I was just ordering Uber Eats, like Thai food, sticky mango rice. I was eating like shit because I was so depressed.
That shit sounds fire, though. I'm on a diet right now. I'm on a diet. Fuck, I hate fucking being on a diet.
Me too.
Son of a gun, bro. We're going to have to eat a salad after this, dog. Ugh.
Same.
Comida de conejo.
So then I was like off the diet, and then after I was healed from the car crash, I was just finding it really hard to go back on the diet. And then all my stomach problems started coming back. So
you think
now
it has to do with all these fucking processed foods and all the bullshit that we eat?
Fuck yeah.
That is
Americans
FDA approved, but it shouldn't be approved because some of the things that are approved here are not approved in other countries.
We have 1,000 things just in our food that are legal in America that are illegal in Europe. It's a federal crime to import chicken from America into Europe. You'll go to federal prison for importing our chicken to Europe. That's how sick our chicken is. And that's what we're all eating every single week. We have so many ingredients, 1,000 ingredients that they don't allow. Americans, 70% now, the statistic is 70% of Americans are overweight. 40% of Americans are obese. And 60% of American adults have chronic diseases. 60%. You know how many kids have chronic diseases? 25%. 1 in 4 people under 18 in America have a chronic illness. That's crazy. That didn't happen when we were little. And it for sure didn't happen when our parents were little. Our generation is the first generation that grew up on all the GMO foods, way more pesticides and all that, way more preservatives. The technology now for what they put in the food that's synthetic ingredients is crazy. And everyone's sick. It's not a mystery, you know?
And why do you think that is? It's a business.
It's a business. Because the government is in bed with big pharma, with the advertising agencies, with the vaccine companies, with the war companies, everything. Like, they don't care about the people. Our country, it's beautiful, the opportunity that we have in our country, but it's sick that we'll sacrifice our own people to get money. That's where we need to draw the line. We're literally killing our country. What are these people making all this money for? They're not going to be able to give it to anybody. Their kids are all going to die. If we continue at this pace, it's just, we're going to exterminate ourselves.
Oh, that's a great fucking point.
It's really scary. Where do you draw the line, you know? There's scientists in a lab right now trying to put together new technology to make our food more addictive. And we feed this to kids. Remember when we were kids and we got up in the morning and we had a bowl of Captain Crunch? You know how many grams of sugar are in a bowl of Captain Crunch? It's probably like 30. You know those little cubes of sugar that you
Yeah.
put in your coffee? Imagine 30 of those in the bowl. And we all ate that every morning before school for fucking
Fucked
10
it
years.
up, huh? We're like, yeah, it's
Fuck
delicious. Ah.
Yes. Yeah, hot Cheetos, Kool-Aid. I mean, even alcohol. I mean, we fry everything in vegetable oil. They call vegetable oil because vegetable oil is a mix of soy, canola, and I think corn is the third one. But the people who make vegetable oil know that if they called it canola and soy and corn oil, nobody would buy it. So they label it vegetable oil so that it doesn't seem bad. Canola and corn and soy are the number one, the top 3 biggest produced GMO crops in our country because they're the cheapest and they're the worst for your body. And that's what we fry everything in. Every single restaurant that we all go to, I promise you they're using vegetable oil because it's the cheapest. And that's why everybody's sick.
Fuck.
I do a lot of research on all this stuff. You know what's
God
crazy?
damn,
That even
Reverie
before,
bought the fucking statistic. See my face? I'm not even moving. Like, ¿qué? ¿Qué
It's
estoy
crazy.
comiendo? Puro puto veneno, güey.
Yeah, it's so bad.
Okay. Whoa. How do we avoid these foods?
You can avoid eating all the shitty synthetic GMO foods that these big corporations are shoving in front of our face by having discipline and committing to keeping yourself healthy. What does that look like? It looks like cooking at home every single day of the week except for Friday. You know, give yourself a day off to go out.
So Friday I
and
could eat pizza?
Friday you should eat pizza. Because if you don't, the rest of the week is gonna seem impossible. I'm speaking from first-hand experience. That's what I'm doing now that I'm back on my diet. I'm on the diet all week, but on Friday I go and I have one meal out.
Do you think Sprouts and Trader Joe's is worth it at this point?
Yes, I think that Trader Joe's is a really, really great affordable option for people who might not have as much money as others who shop at Whole Foods, let's say. Trader Joe's is a great place to shop. Their stuff is pretty clean. Sprouts is even better. That's where I like to shop. But I know that a lot of people are on a budget, you know, so I think that Trader Joe's is good. You know where else is really good to shop at? Farmers markets. Farmers markets in your neighborhood. Most of the crops at farmers markets are actually organic and they're cheap. They're cheaper than they are in the store. But to continue with how to fight the poison that they're feeding us, you have to eat well. You have to buy organic food, you know, and people are like, oh, but organic's too expensive. It's not that much more expensive, okay? It's like 40 cents to $1 more. It's not.
I was like, hey, fuck that. From now on, we're going to shop at Sprouts. I was like, I know it's it's way more expensive. She's like, it's not that much more expensive.
It's not. And everybody just uses that excuse, but they haven't even done it. I'm like, I know you haven't gonna go shop for organic at Sprouts because you wouldn't be saying that. Okay, maybe there's $15 more on your grocery bill. It's gonna be $15 more on your grocery bill or $15,000 on your health bill later. You know what I'm saying?
That's a banger. That's a bar.
It's true though. You're gonna pay now. Fucking sacrifice one beer that you're gonna buy at the bar this weekend. You know, sacrifice the new Nikes and buy organic food. It's way more important than what we're wearing, you know?
Yeah, but people got their priorities all fucked up. Wait till you hit 40. Wait till you hit 30. Then you're going to be like, damn, that Reverie and that JR, they were on to something, and I didn't listen.
Yeah.
Like, bro, ever since I turned 40, I think my life has changed, bro. Like, this shit is just crazy. Like, your body starts, like, changing. Like, this is crazy. Like, right now, I got to take a break to crack my back. Like, this is crazy. Don't turn fucking 40.
But it's even worse now than, like, when our parents were 40. Because they didn't grow up eating all the stuff we did, you know? And that's why people are getting sicker younger.
Do you think the life expectancy is going down?
I think it's going to when we start getting older. That's just my personal theory.
Because of all the bullshit that we...
Yeah. If things keep going the way they're going, yeah. Like, our parents might live to be 80, but I don't know how long we're going to live. We're fucked. Millennials and all the people underneath, like, We're like experiments. GMO foods, they didn't start becoming major until the early 90s. And before the early 90s, there was only like a couple GMO things. I forgot what one of them was, but the other one was cotton, okay? Cotton, GMO, who cares? We're just wearing it, you know? It's just a fucking... But when you're making GMO crops that we're eating and it's going inside of our bodies, that's bad. That's not good. And a lot of people will say, oh, it's science. It's been proven to be safe. The mainstream science says that. Of course they do. Of course they're not going to admit that they're killing us slowly to save a few pennies. You know, they want to make all the money they can. But GMOs are bad for us. They're really bad for us.
It's usually this phrase that they use. It's FDA approved. Yeah. So it's good.
The good old FDA.
Look at this face. Come on, dog.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Can't trust them. Yeah.
Can't, because they've been bought out by Big Pharma.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the vaccines too. Like, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, okay? I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but I will just tell you guys this and you decide what you want to do with this information. Every single pharmaceutical drug that's on the market has to go through extensive research and testing, okay? I'm talking about years of testing. First, they're going to test on mice, then they're going to test on apes, then they're going to test on humans, and that's going to take years to be approved, right? And the reason that they do these testing is to make sure that it's safe, obviously, but also because when you're giving these medications to people, sometimes the medication is going to affect a certain group of people, but everybody else could take it and it won't affect them negatively. So they need to identify who are these people that maybe they have a stomach condition so they can't take this medicine, or maybe they're over the age of 60 so they can't take this medicine, or maybe they're female so they can't take this medicine. There's a certain group of people for each medicine that shouldn't be taking it, okay? And the research that they do over those years helps them make it safe and keep it away from those people. Vaccines used to be like that. But in the 80s, they convinced Ronald Reagan, the president, to take away the accountability of vaccine companies. So let's say if if a group of people were fucked over by Vicodin, they could sue Vicodin because Vicodin should have done this research and not given it to these people. They took that away from the vaccines. Vaccines used to have to do extensive research over years to make sure the vaccine was safe. In the 80s, they changed that. And then when they changed that, they said, oh, you need to take that away from us because we're trying to make Americans healthy. How are we supposed to be able to come up with new vaccines if you're going to just sue us? Take that away from us. We're trying to better America. We're trying to make people healthy. You know, that's the what they sold the government. And the dumbass Ronald Reagan said, oh, yeah, sure, go ahead. They probably paid him to say that, you know. And since then, now the vaccine companies don't have to do extensive research. You cannot sue a vaccine company if you take it. It's part of the contract. Whenever you or your kids or anybody takes a vaccine, you sign a little contract that says, I will not sue no matter what happens to my body. Okay? This is what happened with the COVID vaccine. That's why they made the vaccine in less than 6 months. How are you going to make a vaccine in 6 months? That's crazy. But that's how they were able to do it. Because they used the emergency waiver. Oh, we need to get this out to everybody. Save everybody. Here it is. We made this vaccine in 6 months. Now, a lot of people that took the COVID vaccine have lifelong effects that they're dealing with. Heart palpitations, lazy eyes, fertility issues, fucking blood clots in the periods. Like there's athletes that are dying on the field. Healthy people in their 20s that are just falling over and dying after the COVID vaccine. It's not a coincidence, you know? But no, none of those people can sue the vaccine companies, because they don't have to take accountability. They don't have to do those testings anymore. After Ronald Reagan changed that thing about the vaccines in the 80s, the vaccine companies exploded. Obviously. You're taking away... Why would they do the extra work and spend $1 billion to make sure it's safe if they don't have to? They won't. Because they don't give a fuck about the people.
They don't.
And that's why in our generation... we're the first generation that took so many vaccines. Our parents didn't take all the vaccines that we took when we were kids. And now our kids are having even more vaccines than we did. And in the 90s, when this big boom of vaccines started, that's when people started developing peanut allergies to food, gluten intolerances. Now there's a huge spike in autism. There's a huge spike in people who have kids who have eczema, people who have kids who have skin conditions, kids who have all these asthma. There's so many things that were very rare when our parents were little that now, like I told you, it's 1 in 4 children has a chronic disease. There's a lot that needs to change. That's very, very scary. The vaccines, the food, the water, it's a lot of things. Our country is poisoning us, and now our kids are being affected.
What do you think? I don't think there's a healthy alternative when it comes to vaccines and shit like that. Well, you don't think we should be taking any vaccines at all?
No, I think that some vaccines are
like, which ones are
important.
the exception? Like,
You know what? I don't want to give vaccine advice because I haven't studied enough on that to feel comfortable giving an answer.
the perfect fucking answer.
Yeah. I just want to encourage
Smart.
people to research themselves, you know, and see whatever makes sense for them and their family. But I just wanted to point out that information. And it's definitely something to think about.
And you're absolutely right. And you put it in very simple terms. I just think that we are in the era of information overload.
Oh, yeah.
So take the time to study and research what best benefits you and your family. Everybody's different. Everybody's opinions are different. And there's nothing wrong. There is no right or wrong. So people need to start being more vigilant on what they're putting in their bodies and their kids.
Yeah. And a lot of people really do feel like ignorance is bliss, you know, and a lot of people don't want to hear that the government is poisoning us. You know, a lot of people don't want to hear that they're exploiting our health to make more money. A lot of people don't want to hear that we're being lied to. A lot of people don't want to hear about conspiracy theories. And I'm not saying they're all true or, you know, but I'm just saying that it's really important for the people to be aware that you could be deceived by the government. Like, I'm always shocked when people can't believe that the government is corrupt, because governments have been corrupt since the beginning of time, you know. And I've been to 27 countries on tour. Okay, every single country that I go to and I talk about politics with the people of the country, every single country says, yeah, your country's crooked, but our country, you don't even know, our politicians are different, they're worse. But every country says that. And that just shows to me, like, damn, every country's so crooked. The political leaders, like, it's just crazy. But it's just part of the human experience, you know. Unfortunately, when unfortunately, when certain people get a big amount of power, they're gonna do evil things with it for their benefit, you know.
Fuck, and that's true. There's a lot of truth to that statement.
It's like the whole like communism. Like, communism, it's like a nice thought. It's a nice theory. We all do our part, and we all eat together, and we all have the same house, and life is great. But in reality, that it never works. It doesn't work like that. They own you, and there's gonna be the few people at the top, and everybody else is fucked.
Remember this:
you know?
the hand that feeds you could also starve you. Bars. And it's the truth. So why would... No, I'm not going to depend on you, because you could starve me, motherfucker. Like, I'm not for that.
Yeah, I mean, either.
At all.
It's not good to give people too much power.
But it's like, it puts us in a situation where, like, damn, well, then how can we change this? When I just think that it's being manipulated, especially in this country.
Especially in our country.
You know, now they're tapping into the social medias.
Oh, yeah.
It's all propaganda and programming. Propaganda, programming, and control. So it's like, damn, how do we fight against the machine?
I feel like the only way to fight against the machine is doing what we're doing right now. You know, we're speaking about these issues. We're going to show them to our audiences. People are going to share them and educate themselves. And that to some people might seem like something so small and like it's nothing, but it is something huge. Leading by example. Yeah. And speaking about things and spreading the word, like, person to person. That's the only way, which is a big way, that we could fight the machine. You know, we have to just keep talking about these things and spreading the information.
And I just think that they're creating a lot of division, but I just think it's strategic. Because then we can no longer just be like, hey, listen, this is what I think. Oh, what? Oh, that you're supporting that guy or that girl? Like, and it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
Like, we can't just fucking lay out the facts. Like, this is what it is. And fucking talk like regular people.
Yeah, I always
now
think
it's more
strange.
combative.
Yeah, I always thought that was strange, but especially now that I'm older, I think it's really strange. I just posted a TikTok about this a couple days ago. I was like, I can't take somebody seriously if they're not going to talk to somebody just because they vote differently than them. Like, it's just an opinion. It's not like you know, like, I don't care who you vote for. You vote for Kamala, you vote for Trump, you vote for Robert F. Kennedy. It doesn't, I don't really care. You know, like, anyways, it's just like you said, what can we do? We can't, I can't change who's going to be president, you know, but I can just change my community. I can speak about it to my audience. I can speak about it to my friends. I can speak about it to my family. And that's what I'm going to do, to do my part, you know?
All right.
And it's like, I don't know. I guess I'm just not really into politics. So maybe that's why I don't understand, like, the whole, like.
I don't want to say I'm into politics because I'm not. I just think it's fucking crazy at times. I'm just like, wait, what? He said what? She said what? And I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. You know, and it's like becomes like a kind of like a circus and kind of comical to me. Then I'm just like, I have the no mames phrase. I've been saying that a lot lately, especially when it comes to politics. Like, no mames. And I talk shit about both, but I'm more talking shit about a specific one now. I'm just like, because you can't. Like,
can your audience know or no?
Yeah, like I always stay pretty neutral. But I just think Kamala, like, I can't fucking, she's cringe. I cannot hear her speak. It's like she's talking to a bunch of fucking, like, I feel like she's like a kindergarten teacher, and that's how she addresses you.
Yeah, she's very, I've been watching a lot of everyone's speeches, and I understand why people like her for sure. I'm not a big fan, but I get it. Like, the way she presents herself, she does, like, the whole, like, oh, I'm relatable. Like, I'm for the people.
Somebody said that she speaks like she's trying to hit the word count on an essay. Like, she just throws extra words.
Like, hey, this speech has to be 500 words. So she's like, 499. I need one more. She'll throw in a big word like, what's the one she's always saying?
If we're not, then we are. Or something.
It's like, and, you know, I don't know. She's just a fucking, I don't know. It's just weird to me. I'm just like, and the whole, you know, this is a democracy, right? Well, they skipped that process with her being there.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
How about that?
And she hasn't even been doing interviews for the public.
Yeah, because I don't think she could speak very well.
That's what everybody's saying.
Imagínate, güey. You know? And I'm not even.
Yeah,
look,
I saw it. The recent one?
Yeah.
On CNN, I think. Yeah, I saw it. I was like, finally an interview I could watch. I wanted to just get to know her. I don't know anything about her. But then I was like, Kamala interview, and it's only like her with like a talk show host who's like, you know, like, I want to see her being interviewed by maybe somebody that's going to challenge her ideas or somebody that doesn't like her. You know, like, that's what the other candidates have been doing.
Won't let it happen. They. Who's they? I don't know. Who is they? I voted for Obama. Yes, I did. I didn't know any better.
Same. And I did vote for him just because he was black.
Yes.
And I was like 18.
For the people.
Yeah.
For us, for colored people, you know, Latinos. This episode is brought to you by the JR Group, located in the beautiful city of Downey, California. If you're thinking about buying, selling, investing, or refinancing your property, go ahead and make sure that you connect with us via Instagram. Follow us at JR Jimenez RE. Go ahead and send us a DM and let's connect. And he could speak. I'll give him that much.
He's a good speaker.
Like, I like when, now I know what he stands for. I'm like, no. And I'm listening to this guy. But it's like, that fucker could speak, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So I have some here if you want me to.
Oh, okay, sure.
I haven't drank from this one.
Thank you.
So it's like, dude, I like this guy, but I don't, because I know what he's about.
Yeah.
So it's just,
Presentable, too.
I just, and I'm going to go back to what I said in the last episode. We are in a democracy. So vote for who best benefits you.
Yeah.
And people need to learn how to accept that. Like, just because JT's going to vote for Kamala, no, you fucking won't, fool. Straight up. No, I'm just kidding. It's still my friend.
Yeah.
We still work together. I'm not going to
Yeah.
be like, no, fool, we're not going to go have this healthy lunch that you're going to pay for later. Like, I'm not
my
going to do
God.
none of that. It's just tell me why. I'm just interested.
Yeah.
Tell me why you fucking like this person. And that's it. And then I think we'll move forward in a much better, beneficial way for everybody. Mm-hmm. But it's just a bunch of fucking craziness. But it is what it is, Mm-hmm. Back to the illnesses and stuff like that. The first time we met, you said you were like when you would feel depressed, that's when you would go back to some of the addictions and stuff like that. Has that been the case this time around, or do you have better coping methods?
I definitely have better coping mechanisms now. Yeah. And also, now that I'm back on the diet, I'm not supposed to drink. So I'm not drinking again.
Oh, so you have been drinking lately.
I was drinking prior to this.
How was that? Walk me through that.
I mean, it was cool, but then I got sick again. So I was like, hey, it's not cool. And I've definitely been tempted to drink, and then I just have to have that conversation with myself. Like, is it worth getting sick? Like, no.
Did the drinking lead back to the harder stuff?
No.
So
No,
it's just
I'm
been
still not
strictly-
doing hard drugs.
So it's strictly drink.
Yeah.
Like strictly alcohol.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's something positive. At
Yeah,
least,
it's great. Yeah, for sure.
I drank this weekend.
Yeah, how was it? It looks like you regret it.
I had a blast. It was
Good.
okay. Look, I drank with a lot of successful entrepreneurs.
Good. It's a good place
So
to
the
drink.
vibe was just like amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, I woke up feeling like shit the next day. But it wasn't that bad because I still worked out. But I just felt that the vibe was right. The people, the atmosphere. And yeah, I had, I'm saying, a couple whiskeys, I'm saying, turning up and shit, But that's just what it was. And it was great. But I just feel like maybe next time I need to just say no.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But I didn't give myself a hard time about it.
Yeah.
I wasn't like, oh, pinche pendejo.
Yeah.
I'm very careful on how I speak to myself.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
So
That's
now
really
I just
good.
allowed myself to be like, all right, dude.
Also, when was the last time you did that?
Ooh, the last time I drank like that, well, the last time I drank, period, was fucking months ago. Like I
That's
don't,
great. Then you
I don't
deserve
drink.
it.
Like I won't be like, hey, Reverie, we're like hanging out, let's have a drink. No,
Okay.
I'm never gonna do that.
Yeah.
So it has to be like in the situation, like where like I'm out and I'm having fun, and I'm a visual person. Like if what is it called? If the scenery and the setting is like relaxing to me, or like I'm amazed, like, oh man, this is fucking dope.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking, it might open that door to be
Yeah.
like, all right, cool. And I felt that everything aligned. The people I was with, the scenery, it was just like, all right. And I didn't give myself a hard time about it.
That's good.
I wasn't belligerent, acting stupid, super chill, super cool. So, but next time I'll probably be like, you know what? Do you really need to drink? Probably not. But I don't give myself a hard time. I watch the way I talk to myself, and it's fine. Look
I
at me.
feel
I'm
like-
over here, fucking True Hustle, bam, with
Yep.
Reverie. And now we're good. Like,
Yep.
it was a few days ago. So.
I feel like it's really important to learn how to be nice to yourself when you're speaking to yourself.
Absolutely.
That's something that I am really new to. It's just been about like a year or two that I really have been working on the way I speak to myself, and especially because about a year and a half ago, I realized I must have been talking to somebody about how you talk to yourself, you know,
Okay.
and then I thought to myself, oh my God, if people heard the way I speak to myself, I would be embarrassed. And then when I realized that, I was like, damn, that's not good. That's not okay. Like, because the way I speak to myself, I would never allow somebody to speak like that to me, you know? And if I saw my friend getting spoken to like that, I would be like, hey, why are you letting that person talk to you like that, you know? So I'm really working on changing the way I speak to myself because I'm so hard on myself. I'm so negative. I'm so like, you know, and nothing's ever good enough. And I feel like it's just exhausting to live like that, you know, and I'm really working on being nicer and giving myself more credit, giving myself more grace, especially because I'm the worst. When I make a mistake, it's the end of the world. When other people make a mistake, I'm like, oh, it's okay. We all make mistakes. When I make a mistake, forget it. You're
Well, you know
stupid.
what they say.
How the fuck?
It's
What?
easier said than done.
Yes.
You could give advice, but when it's time to apply it to yourself or to your life, that shit ain't that easy, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You know, speaking for myself, like I give all the perfect advice, and when it comes to myself, now I don't want to be a hypocrite. Now I be like, fuck, I told so and so. Now I gotta shut up, man up, and take the same advice. But I'm very careful on how I speak to myself.
How do you handle it when you find yourself being negative to yourself? When you find yourself saying, "Oh, I can never do it right. I'm not doing enough. What can I do more of?" Like, I can't do anything
I
right.
think about some of the people that are in my life right now that are really successful and that have been like mentors to me and be like, that guy wouldn't do that to himself. He wouldn't speak that to himself. So why the fuck are you? Chill out. I do a lot of self-talk, but it's positive.
Yeah.
Before I'd be like, pinche pendejo, fuck.
Yeah.
Shit, man. It's like, be careful on how you speak to yourself because now I'm telling myself and now I'm going to start believing this shit.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, as I look back and I'm like, so-and-so wouldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So where are you? And so-and-so is stupid successful.
Mm-hmm.
So why the fuck am I doing that?
That's
So-
cool. So you have like a reference point, like people
A
that
reference,
you admire.
exactly.
That's a really great idea. Okay, I'm gonna have to try that.
It's like somebody that you look up to.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody you're like, man, they got it together. And they really do got it together. Like,
Like not
why-
just the career.
Yeah, not just
Like their personal.
like well-rounded.
Yeah.
Why not use them as a reference
Yeah.
to yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so-and-so wouldn't do that. Or what would so-and-so do?
That's funny
That shit
because
works.
people tell me that they do that with me. They'll be like, "Oh, I don't want
It's
to
a
work,"
compliment.
and then I think, "Yeah, right," and then I think, "Oh, what would Reverie do?" And then I go do this. I'm like, "Oh my God, it's so cool!" But I've never thought about me doing that, you know. So I'm gonna.
Like, who do you look up to? And that's the person you should be like, what would so-and-so do?
Mm-hmm.
How would they handle this situation? And I started doing that. Like, stop.
It's
What
cool.
would,
Mm-hmm.
this person do? And just keep moving forward. You're human. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to make mistakes. Stop kicking your fucking self in the ass. Dog, take a moment to acknowledge your feelings. Acknowledge that you made a mistake. And that's it. Drop it. Move forward. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
It took me some time, though.
Yeah, it's hard. And I feel like it's an ongoing lesson. You know, I always talk about like the ongoing lessons. Like there's some lessons in life, some things you only have to learn once. For example, the easiest reference is a bicycle. Once you learn how to ride a bicycle, you know. You won't have to ride a bicycle for 5 years. If you get on it, you'll remember real quickly. But there's so many life lessons that you have to learn over and over and over and over and over. And talking to yourself nice and being nice to yourself is one of those lessons for sure.
But it's a must.
It's a must. It's not an option.
And I heard my dad, the way he talks to himself. I'm like, get pedo, like, why are you telling yourself that? Like, I'm like, fuck this. Come to True Hustle Podcast. We're going to sit down. I'm going to fucking give you some therapy, bro. Like, don't talk to yourself like that. That's to my own dad. Like, what are you doing? Ah, tú que sabes, güey. Tú que sabes, cabrón. I'm like, I actually know a lot. And I know that's not healthy.
Yeah.
Shit. So when you go See, you're in that scene or in that career where there's tons of alcohol and drugs.
Tons.
A
never-ending supply
like
for free.
Fucking crazy.
That's the craziest part.
Oh, that you beat me to the punch. And you don't have to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
How do you have that strong mindset to be like, no way, it's not happening, brother?
It's really hard, especially like somebody who has struggled with addiction in the past for many years, for decades. It's hard for me sometimes to say no to everything that's backstage, you know. And I always tell people that when I worked at the Home Depot, if I went to work drunk, they would fire me. But now when I go to work, people greet me with alcohol. They greet me with weed. They greet me with cocaine. They greet me with whatever you want. Oh, do you need anything? I could get it. You know, I'm like, no, I'm good. But there was many times where I did it. Yeah, of course, you know, when I was still using and stuff, you know. But it's really hard not to give into that all the time. And I feel like I can only speak for myself because not everybody has struggled with addiction like I have. Mm-hmm. But with me, I basically have to go through the whole process and I have to walk myself through what's going to happen if I do cocaine tonight. You know, let's say someone's offering me blow backstage. Okay. And also, I will say that one of the biggest reasons that I stopped doing blow is because of fentanyl. I do not want to die doing drugs. Like, how did she die? Oh, fentanyl. Like, I do not want that to be how my legacy ends. Yeah, like, that's fucking sad. And I have friends that I have lost to fentanyl. So, for me, like, for some people, they don't know anybody who's been lost to fentanyl, which is great. I'm happy for them. But for me, I know people that have died from fentanyl. And I know people who died from fentanyl. And I don't want to be that, you know? But besides the fentanyl, cocaine wreaked havoc on my life for a few years, you know, so I can't go back to doing that. So when it is in my face, and especially if I'm drinking, I have to have the conversation with myself. And this is in front of everybody. I won't say it out loud, but in my head, I'm looking at everybody doing cocaine, and it looks good, and it smells good, and everybody looks like they're feeling good, and I'll be like, you know what? What's going to happen if I take a line? Okay, if I take a line, I'm going to take another line. Even though I say just one, though. Yeah, I'm going to take another one, and then I'm going to take another one, and then I'm going to take another, and then we're going to leave. We're going to leave this venue, and we're going to go to someone's house, and we're going to get some more cocaine. And then next thing I know, it's going to be 4 a.m, and the plug's not going to answer anymore, and we're not going to be able to get more cocaine, and then it's going to suck. And we're all going to sit there in someone's living room staring at each other, regretting that we did any cocaine, because now the birds are chirping and the sun is coming up, and I feel like shit, and there's no more cocaine. Then I'm going to go home by myself, and I'm going to lay in my bed for 4 hours, and maybe one of those will be sleep, and the rest of the 3 is going to be me having a conversation in my head about how I'm such a fucking loser, that why am I still doing cocaine? If only my fans really knew this is how I really am. Why did I do this to myself again? I'm not supposed to do this. I'm such a fucking loser. I don't want to have that conversation for 3 hours by myself in my bed at 6 a.m. And then when I finally wake up from that hour nap, I'm not going to be able to work because my brain's going to be fried because I was doing cocaine all night. And I'm not going to make money. And then that day's going to be wasted. And then I'm going to say, oh, I'm such a fucking loser. I didn't even work. Look at me. I shouldn't have done the cocaine last night. So that whole conversation is had in my head every time someone offers me cocaine. I have to get into every single fucking detail and every single little phase of what's going to happen if I take that one line of cocaine. And that's how I stay away from cocaine.
That's how everybody should stay away from cocaine.
Yeah.
Process the consequences.
Mm-hmm. The whole night.
Like, you know, see, if I do this, va a valer madre. It's going to be turned up. Like, we're going to fucking do some wild ass shit that I'm going to regret.
Yeah. And if you're going to do that once every 6 months, go for it. You know, if you want to do it in moderation or whatever moderation looks like to you, go for it. Everyone's moderation is different, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But if you struggled,
moderation doesn't exist in my book.
Yeah, and it doesn't exist in a lot of people's books, and that's why I don't do cocaine because I'm not good at moderation either.
That's dope
for some things, and that's one of them. So I just stay away from it. I just stay away from that shit.
What has addiction taught you now that you're sober?
Ooh, I mean, I don't want to say I'm sober because I definitely still drink.
All right, let's scale it back. What has addiction taught you now that you don't do hard drugs?
Addiction has taught me that people who are active in their addictions are facing demons that they can't kill. And I don't think that people like feeling high all the time. People, he's addicted to drugs. He just wants to feel high. People that are addicted to drugs don't want to feel high. They don't want to feel anything. When I was addicted to cocaine, when would I do cocaine? When I was sad, when I was stressed, when I was confused, when I was angry. I never was like, oh, I'm having the best day ever. I want to go get drunk and do some cocaine today. Like, that's never been said, you know? And I know that because I hung around with so many people who were also addicted to drugs, because when you're addicted to drugs, you only hang around with other people who are addicted to drugs. All those people that I know that I don't hang out with anymore, or that I still hang out with sometimes, you know, they're really struggling mentally. And I feel like anybody who's active in an addiction, even alcohol, even food, even sugar, even sex, even social media, it's filling a void. You know, there's a big space in these people and in myself sometimes when I struggle still, you know, that there's a void and something's really wrong. And again, it goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning of this conversation. Unfortunately, as children, we were not taught how to regulate our emotions. That's really difficult for a lot of people. And if you don't have the tools, if you don't figure out how by your own merit, when you do meth and it takes away all the stress and pain, of course you're going to want to do it again. It feels amazing. It's fucking euphoria, you know? And then that's just like statistically, people who are drug addicts come from shitty childhoods, you know? Whether they're rich or poor. And some people will make fun of rich people. Oh, he's rich, he had everything. Why is he a fucking drug addict? Oh, maybe because the dad was never there. The dad was working 60 hours a week and he was having an affair at the same time. And the mom was depressed, heartbroken, fucking postpartum depression, ignoring the kids, knowing she was getting cheated on, dealing with this life, and the kids were ignored. You know, that's how rich kids become drug addicts. Maybe the nanny was molesting them. Maybe, you know, you don't really know what's going on. It's not about whether you're rich or poor. But in a sense it is, though, because in poor neighborhoods there's more dysfunction, right? And that's why there's more drug addiction in poorer neighborhoods, because there's more dysfunction in the household, and that's just how it is, you know. And that's like another fucking scientific thing about addiction. It's like, I don't know if I talked about this last time I was here, but I did talk about it. How when you're a child whose body and mind is developing, you're developing these circuits of serotonin, dopamine, cortisol, and if you're in a constant state of trauma and abuse and fear, your brain is not forming correctly, because in an ideal place, a child is safe in their household, right? There's two parents holding it down, they're providing everything, including emotionally. But if the kid is being beat, if the kid is left alone all the time, if the kid is hungry, if the kid is struggling for basic necessities, he's not going to be developing the circuits correctly. So dopamine and serotonin is like things that make you feel good. Cortisol comes out when you're like in fight or flight. Like if you saw a bear in the forest, your body would go off cortisol and it would be like, okay, what am I going to do? Like,
Correle, wait.
Yeah.
Cortisol overload.
So that's when that secretes out of your brain. So if you're constantly secreting cortisol, your circuits are not being formed correctly. And then when you do meth or weed or alcohol or whatever drug it is, it's going to shoot off the parts in your brain that shoot off dopamine and serotonin. And that's what makes you feel so good when you do drugs. And if you were raised healthy, you can enjoy that experience for a few hours or whatever. Mm-hmm. But if you were not raised healthy, your brain and your body is going to be like, wow, this is so amazing. I can't wait to do it again and again and again and again and again. And you're just feeding your body what basically couldn't develop correctly. And then with the whole cortisol thing, when kids have asthma, when people have asthma, what's in the inhaler is cortisol. So you're basically shooting inhalation of cortisol into your body so you can go into fight or flight more. A lot of kids who come from dysfunctional households deal with that, and it's like an insufficiency. No, it's a deficiency of cortisol. And that's because they're scared all the time. They're already shooting off cortisol all the time because they're about to be hit, because they're being yelled at, because the dad's leaving, because, it's like you're always in that mode. So that's why it just sucks, like when kids are not brought up in a healthy household, because you're set up for a lot. Like the things that are gonna happen to you in life are gonna suck. Like that's just how it is. Like there's pretty much no avoiding it.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Somebody's struggling with addiction now. What advice would you give them?
I would say if you're struggling with addiction and you're ready to stop, if you're ready to get help, then go get it. And a place that I would recommend going to is AA meetings. And I feel like a lot of people, when they think about AA meetings, they think like, oh, it's just like a bunch of junkies in a room. And it's whack and it's weird. And honestly, that's what I used to think too before I went inside those rooms. And you know what? It is a bunch of junkies that are fucking weird. But you know what? You won't know. You won't know that they used to be a junkie, because they look like normal people. Like the stories I've heard in those rooms, oh, I was in an alley, oh, I fucked for crack, oh, I this and that, and I fucking fell off a building. I'm like, and I'm looking
never
at this
thought
person.
I would suck dick for crack,
Yes.
but I sucked that dick. Oh my god!
Yes. And you're looking at this person, and they're clean cut, and they're 55, and they're white, and and I'm just like, whoa! I could never picture them. Like they look so good now. So it's
so well groomed.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's a good resource. It's free. You meet other people that are trying to get better as well. It's honestly really therapeutic to go to the AA meetings, because there actually is like a therapy session in a way, because people are sharing their they're sharing their
experiences. But it's a therapy
experiences.
session with people that are struggling with the same struggles you are.
Yes. I would recommend that. And I would also recommend like taking inventory of your life and seeing who you need to let go of in your life that makes you feel like shit. When you go do cocaine, is it because of your lover? Is it because of your sister? Is it because of the argument with your mom? Who is it in your life that triggers you to go do drugs if you struggle with addiction? And those people that make you feel like shit about yourself and that make you want to use, you cannot have those people in your life. At least not while you get sober. Because that to me was like a huge thing, that when I realized that.
That's a great point.
Yeah, and I was like, oh shit. It's like always like that person or that person. I'm like, oh, I can't be around that person.
Who was the main one that would trigger you to the point where you're like, you know what, I gotta X this person out?
Well, I guess for sure, I was in a really toxic relationship for many years. And that's kind of like when I developed a cocaine addiction, because I was just like really sad. And that's how I was coping, not coping with, with the situation.
Masking.
Yeah, I was masking. And yeah, I would just say that was like the beginning of me realizing that it does have to do a lot with people who are in your life who shouldn't be in your life. Yeah.
I agree. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you gotta cut these motherfuckers off to better you.
It's you or them.
Always pick you.
Always pick
your
you.
sanity, your health. For you, and it indirectly affects your family.
Oh, yeah. And your friends, and your work, and your community, everything. Your art, whatever.
So don't be afraid to make the moves or make the adjustments to make you better. Might be hard at the beginning, but do it. And you'll be fine. It ain't gonna be easy though. It ain't gonna be from Monday to Tuesday, homie. You know what I mean? But
yes.
Long run, it will change everything in your life. So, any questions? What else you want to add? Because we got some time, girl, and you bringing out some bangers. What concerts you got?
I have a really dope concert coming up on September 28th in Hollywood. It's called Summer Nights by Nationwide, and I do a lot of shows with Nationwide. And it's gonna be me. I'm opening up for Be Real from Cypress Hill.
Nah.
Yes. On the 28th. And also
We need to roll,
Amanda.
fool.
Let me know. Let me know if you
I've
guys.
seen her perform.
I seen her perform too. I saw her
She's
at
dope.
69 and the Yellows.
It was fun. That was a vibe.
I was supposed to be there.
Oh,
no.
God.
I was supposed to be there at the other one where you performed. At the fairground, somewhere far. No, it was like a big stadium. I forgot. But you
In
were
Las
there.
Vegas?
No, it was right here, close to Las Vegas.
Barstow.
Was it in Barstow? One of those.
Oh, the fucking the other summer nights?
Yes.
I
I forgot what it was called, but I think it was the
forgot
same
what it was
people.
called. Yeah.
I was supposed to be
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
but I got sick, so. Pero ni modo, but that's fucking dope. How do you feel like opening up for such a big person?
Well, I will say that. Did you see the flyer? Did you see the flyer
No.
for the event? It's Be Real big, obviously, and then it's like me right there next to him.
No way.
Yes, and this other artist, I think her name's Sarah Morena. But we're the only ones with the faces on the flyer, you know? And I just saw
That's
my face.
right.
Right? I was like, I saw my face next to B-Real, and I was like, oh my God. Like, yeah.
Legend, dog.
Yeah.
Shout out to B-Real. What's up, bro? Southgate. What? What's up, barrel?
I admire him a lot in Cypress Hill. B-Real's like, honestly, one of my main inspirations as far as building an empire. Like that fool is so dope. His empire that he's built, and he and in the music and outside of the music, like he's just phenomenal to me. So, to open up for him and to be like on the flyer right there next to him, I was like, oh my God! Like I just felt
I'm
really
nice to be real.
yeah, it felt really good.
And that's September 28th?
September 28th.
And how do people buy tickets?
You can get tickets on my website, reverierelove.com.
We're going to have to go. I leave the following week, so I'm good.
Yeah, I have that event with Derek, but it's from 9 to 5, and then in the evening.
Period. I'll see you guys there then.
Like, we're
Let me
gonna
know
have
if
to
you
go
need
support you.
on the guest list. I could get you guys.
After the first episode, we shot was with her.
Oh, so all right, let me tell you. He's like your number one fan, this guy right here.
Hey.
That guy. Do you want to know why?
Why?
He started working with me, and you were our first episode.
Really?
Yes.
That's cool.
And then, like, we changed things up,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was like, hey, it's kind of similar to the first setup.
Hey.
And he was like, and I was like, yeah, well, she was a great guest. You know, and fast forward 30-something episodes, we're still here.
That's crazy. Congratulations.
He was all excited.
Months ago, I just looked
I mean, not that I wasn't. I was excited, too, because I know your conversations are deep,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and they're really relatable. And I think the first time you were here, yeah, we got a lot of feedback on it because
Yeah.
a lot of people are going through things that you went through. But you're not afraid to speak on it.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, you have a big fan base and people need to hear that it's okay to be going through some of the things.
Yeah. And you know what? I will say I am afraid to speak on personal things. And I do face a lot of negative consequences for being an open book and for being vulnerable and for putting my weaknesses out there. But I get more positive back than the negative. And I feel like this is my reason for being on this planet is to help people with my words. So whatever is going to come at me for me to do that, that's just what I have to do. You know, like I'm going to war. I'm always going to war, and whatever comes with that, like I just got to keep fighting and doing what I'm here to do.
And we appreciate you for that. So thank you for stopping by once again.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Go ahead and give her a follow and go get your tickets. I'll be there. And her number one fan, JT, is going to be there too. Let's go, baby. Thank you, Reverie. Appreciate
Thank
you.
you.